Here I am in Bath. I'm outside the Apex Hotel in Bath. Now, a bit like me, it may not look very pretty, but it's what's inside that counts. So let's have a look. Now, the Apex City of Bath Hotel, to give it its full name, is a 4-star facility, just about 10 minutes walk or so from the train station, Bath Spa train station. It's right on the western edge of the main city. So as you walk around that area, there's a few perhaps less luxurious amenities around there. Nothing against One Stop or Travelodge or Premier Inn or Weatherspoons. I like them as much as the next toothless drunkard. But you don't want to necessarily go around that part. If you just go further to the right, you're a couple of blocks long from the main city with all the brasseries, bars, pubs, restaurants, and tourist attractions like the Roman baths and the Abbey and all that stuff. But this is not a review of the city of Bath or Bath. If you're from the West Country like me, I'll go to Bath for the day. No, we'll save that for another video. I do a brief one in one of my day trips from London. I'll put insert here. There's a few good day trips you do from London, and Bath is definitely one of them. But no, today we are talking about the hotel. And a quick bonus: I chose this hotel because the Avios hotels had 15 Avios points for every pound spent offer on. So I bagged this baby, and also still waiting. I'm still waiting, but I should be getting a nice almost 5,000 Avios points. So that was my rationale. And of course, it had a spa and looked very nice, at least on the website, not necessarily from the outside. First things first, though, is walking into the lobby, and it was immaculate. They had a nice sort of roof, not roof terrace, just a terrace. It's not on the roof, idiot. A nice terrace overlooking the street, not the prettiest necessarily of streets, but hey ho. To the right hand side, there was a lovely big sort of loungy area where you could obviously the bar was there as well, so you could have a beer or a wine or a cocktail and while away the hours. To the left hand side of the lobby was the restaurant and this sort of nice cubby hole area where you can sit, relax, watch the world go by through those big windows. Overall, the communal areas were very well designed, modern, sleek, chic, and with a nice finesse. So it's certainly a thumbs up from me when it comes to the lobby. But let's move on to the rooms. Or the room. I was only had one room. We had booked the bog standard city room, being the cheapskate that I am, although in fairness these still look pretty good. But however, when we came to check in, we were complimentary upgraded to a superior room, which was also a considerable step up actually in terms of the space. The other ones they have are a deluxe room. Pretty much looks like some kind of apartment, having sort of separate areas. But yeah, for the purpose of this review, we will be doing the superior room. They also have a family room, but as I don't have a family, I can't really comment. We were in room 141 on the first floor. Again, these communal areas are very nicely designed, although I got a little bit of heebie jeebies about some of the corridors. Maybe it's just the low lighting, maybe it's just because I'm becoming a little bit sensitive in my old age, but I got horror movie vibes from this, maybe with a mad axeman chasing me down the hallway, but that's a story for another day. One minor niggle is the door seemed to be very heavy and quite stiff. Ooh, pardon. So it was hard to get. Oh, you really have to put your shoulder in it. So make sure you do a bit of upper body strength resistance training before you try and at least get into room 141. The first thing you are greeted with in the room is a rubber duck. Yes, apparently this is Apex Hotel's gimmick or shtick. I assume it's to try and make things a bit more viral and be a bit quirky. But yeah, it's a pleasant enough gesture and something a bit different. So fair play. And tucked behind the little fella's head was some lavender mist to spray on your pillow. Attention to detail, small gestures, big impact. As you will see, this is a generously proportioned room. You will find the tea and coffee making, or the kettle, that's what we call it, the kettle, and the Coffee and tea to the right hand side in the wardrobe. It had a few complimentary snacks that was good. Nothing too exciting in terms of the coffee, at least here. Twinings tea bags and some Galaxy hot chocolate. There were UHT milk in the fridge, but there was a sign saying, "Hey, if you want to have fresh milk, please do." Again, that's something you don't tend to find in a lot of hotels, or maybe not the slovenly cheap hotels I've tended to frequent. Yeah, so obviously the obligatory mini fridge and safe, which are always good to have. To the side was a wardrobe. It wasn't a huge amount of wardrobe space, to be honest, but we were only there 2 nights, so tended to live out of our bags. There was a Nespresso machine, and please, if you agree with me or not, but why do they always seem to be very lukewarm at best, if not cold? Anyway, so you have your usual TV, a little section for sitting down in, and the bed was king size bed, lovely and comfortable, quite firm, but really nice. At this juncture, before we get into bed, I would like to say if you do appreciate the stuff I'm doing and you find my reviews on air travel or hotels or cities or anything else mildly interesting or engaging, please do subscribe, please do like, because it does make a difference. It gives me the encouragement to go on to show that I'm not literally wasting my life on YouTube for no views. Anyway, that's enough self pity for one video. Please do join me in the bathroom. I thought you'd never ask. As you can see, immaculately clean. The bath is pristine. Some good quality washing condominiums there. You have your robes and your slippers, and obviously a separate walk-in shower, which is always a winner for me. Both the bath, the shower, and indeed the rest of the areas, the vanity area, and so was just pristine, absolutely top drawer. A few more toiletry amenities like a lip balm and some moisturizer. But overall, I just have to say this was a brilliant bathroom, very sleek, very well designed, just very. I just keep seeing very. I need to work on my vocabulary. It's incredible. So, all in all, when it comes to the room, it is a thumbs up from me, 100%. This was one of the nicest rooms I've been in, certainly in the UK. In terms of floors, apart from that slightly stiff door, maybe if I've been a bit grumpy, I would say the windows are a little bit grimy because of the maybe the traffic going past, so the view from the window necessarily isn't the best by any means. But yeah, those little gripes, those little niggles aside, it's gonna get a very strong. I don't give scores. I don't. I don't. Should I start giving scores? Let me know if you think I should start giving scores rather than just saying something's exceptionally good. Thus far, we are happy with the communal areas and we are more than happy with the bedroom and bathroom. Let's talk about what else there is. This is going to be a little bit tricky for two reasons. One, we didn't have breakfast included and we didn't eat in the restaurant, so I can't comment on that whatsoever. The second thing is that it does have a spa, which is great, which is down in the basement. However, obviously, I can't film in a spa for privacy reasons and indeed vanity reasons, because who would want to see me in a pair of swimming trunks flexing my muscles in a steam room? But instead, I will just show some basic background stock images of hopefully saunas and spas and that kind of thing. As a quick aside, as you saw, the hotel does have a gym, but I didn't go in the gym, so I can't offer any opinions. But I will say, peeking through that little sliver of a window in the door, it appeared to be a pretty decent facility. Lots of modern equipment there and plenty of space. So that's a good option. Anyway, so let's move back on to the spa. So you go through the spa section, and there are three areas really. You have the pool, which kind of has a bit of an infinity pool vibes, a few seats around the side. But we went in the height of the holiday season, which meant kiddie winkies. Now, don't get me wrong, I really like children, some children. I don't want to sound like a curmudgeonly old grump, but it was splashing and playtime for a lot of the occasions we were down there. Kids jumping around, jumping into the pool, splashing each other, and all that kind of fun and games. And fair play to them, absolutely fair play to them. I'm sure I did that as a child in between reading the classics and learning the piano. And in fairness to the hotel, they did say, "Hey, just a word of warning that." At peak times, there will be quite a lot of kids in there. But anyway, so you have the pool with a few sort of jacuzzi sections, hydrotherapy, whirlpool things. There is a steam room and there's a sauna room. The children are not meant to go in there, but I did see children in there. The other thing the spa does have is a couple of nice showers, a nice hot cold shower, and a good old. Like, it doesn't remember the ice bucket challenge, a bit like that. You could pull the bucket down, and there's a nice bucket of water that goes over your head to freshen up. One thing we did say, we went one mid sort of 5 o'clock slot, one 7 o'clock slot, and one 9 in the morning slot. The 7 o'clock in the evening slot, it seemed that the sauna and the steam room were nowhere near as warm or as pleasant in the previous slots. I'm not sure if that's because it gets a little bit quieter and they're starting to turn things down, but that would be my only issue in terms of that would be the obviously the kiddies, which you can't control, and the steam room. However, if you go maybe midweek outside of term time, I think this will be a very, very nice facility. When I say spa, I should add that I couldn't see any spa treatments, like obviously massages, manicures, pedicures, facial exfoliation. You know what it's like. I like to moisturize as much as the next middle aged man. But yeah, so don't expect any of those, or if there are those kind of treatments, they kept them well hidden. Okay, so that is probably enough stock footage of attractive women in various spa and sauna situations. I know that's the only stock footage I can find. Honestly, governor. Now, the word apex means top, pinnacle, zenith, the best. How would I know what that word means, as I'm not quite any of those things? But is apex the apex? It's pretty close. I mean, obviously, it's a 4 star on the 5 star, so it doesn't quite officially make it. But if you are visiting the beautiful Georgian city of Bath, then this is definitely a great option for you. Pretty good location, great facilities, very well designed, very clean. Staff are fantastic. All in all, brilliant. And aside from a couple of those minor bits that are a little bit annoying, like the heavy door, like the kids in the splashing around. Yeah, it was all, it's all much of a muchness. But in terms of hotel reviews, I've not done very many. One's already been astronomical. One has not been astronomical. The opposite, disasteronomical, if that's a word. Maybe it is. I should invent it. But if you want to see my ultra popular video on the first time I've ever been to an all inclusive in the UAE, which is the Doubletree by Hilton in Ras Al Khaimah, you can click on this video now.